And so we're saying good morning and welcome to our Facebook family and our YouTube viewers. Welcome to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. We are a Science of Mind community located in Monterey, and you're welcome to join us if you find Monterey as your destination. We're delighted that you're celebrating with us today as we begin our August series, The Fear and the Furious. This will be a month of unpacking our ideas around fear and anger and faith and bringing it all together within a spiritual context, knowing that it's all good, it's all a part of the way we are designed. And so we'll discover some techniques to support us along our journey. Our service this morning will begin with our statement of being. There will be a time for reflection. We'll have our opening treatment, musical inspiration, and then our talk. So I invite us now to say together our statement of being, and the words are on our monitors, so you're welcome to join in saying them with us. We believe that life is good, that God is all there is, and that love is the only power. We are a welcoming and inclusive community of inspired individuals caring for and about each other and the entire planetary family, bringing the gifts of active compassion and kindness to the world. Our purpose is to transform lives, build dreams, and reveal God through education, music, prayer, service, generosity, and play. And our reflective statement for the morning is, how can I honor my anger and still choose love? How can I honor my anger and still choose love? And I will strike the singing bowl, and we will go into about 2 minutes of silence.
Good morning, Monterey Center for Spiritual Living family, friends, and those joining us online, wherever you're at, recognizing that there is only one life, one love, one Father, Mother, God. That energy and that love, I am standing in alignment. I am one with right here and right now. So as I, Reverend Tony Bradford, speak my word and just open up this anger of joy, anger of incitement, emotional feeling and energy. It's all God, and it's all good, and it's a blessing. So for all of you at the sound of my voice, we're standing and knowing that this is a blessed time. This is a place, a time, an energy that just says yes. Yes to us coming together, standing side by side, understanding that the joy and the life and the love we live is part of the bigger picture. And we are part of that one. So I am blessing this time, blessing the message from Reverend Robert, all those who've set up this time, whether it's online or it was in the center, turn the lights on, put gas in your car, got you here on time. And for those who are outside, knowing that their consciousness and their love is connected to us right here and right now, I am so excited to just bless this time, knowing it is done and it is done well. So I give thanks for this opportunity to speak my word right now, and then I release it. And I send it to the activity of the love and law that always says yes. And please seal it with me by saying all together, and so it is.
Make me an instrument of your peace. Make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, I so love. Where there is injury, pardon. Oh, where there is doubt, faith. And where there's despair, hope. And where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. Make me an instrument, oh, make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument of your peace. God, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me show love. Where there is injury, pardon. Oh, where there is doubt, faith. And where there's despair, hope. Where there's darkness, light. And where there is sadness, so much joy. Make me an instrument, God. Make me an instrument. Oh, make me an instrument. Make me an instrument, God. Make me an instrument of peace. Of peace.
Thank you, Amber, in your absence. I'm going to say this on air. We are looking for musicians to come and support us here at the Monterey Center. So for those of you who are viewing, if you know vocalists or instrumentalists that are willing to travel and come to Monterey, have them reach out to us at the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. And our contact information is on our website. And we plan to supplement our Sunday celebration with live music and along with videos. And also, I would like to acknowledge Reverend Tony Bradford, who brought forward our opening prayer this morning, and was also our speaker on last Sunday in my absence. And we always know that Reverend Tony is just full of energy and brings such an exciting and delightful message. And so if you did not have a chance to view our service from last Sunday, you may find it on our YouTube channel and also on our Facebook page. Today we're beginning our August series, The Fear and the Furious, and our topic is anger as a choice for change. And I selected the music this morning that Amber sang, which is the prayer of St. Francis, "Make me an instrument of your peace." And, you know, we talk about wanting more peace in the world, especially in times like these. But if we reflect on history, there's always been times like these. And there's always been the cry for peace. And so the charge to us as people of faith, as peace bearers, as peace knowers, is to live in that constant knowingness that I am a channel for peace. I am a channel for love. I am a channel for energy. Anger as a force for change invites us to explore two ideas. And the first one is, what if anger is not something to fix? How often do we think that our anger is something that has to be fixed? You know, we're sent to anger management, control our anger. What if anger is actually a signal to follow? And then our next prompt is, how can I honor my anger and still choose love? This is the place where we are. How can I honor my anger and still choose love? Ernest Holmes offers this in the Science of Mind textbook on page 255. Anger can be turned into love, and the very power that has been destroying it can be made to build up. And what Holmes is teaching us and what Science of Mind is saying to us is that all of our emotions, including anger, are expressions of energy. Our emotions and thoughts are powerful forces shaping our lives. Emotions fuel manifestation. The key lies in learning how to direct these emotions. I share with you this reading from Brené Brown in Braving the Wilderness, The Quest for True Belonging and the Courage to Stand Alone. And these statements are taken from pages 67 and 68 in this particular publication by Brené Brown. And she writes, when we are in pain and fear, anger and hate are our go-to emotions. It's easier to be pissed off than it is to be hurt or scared. Say that again. It is easier. No, I'll start at the beginning. When we are in pain and fear, anger and hate are our go-to emotions. It's easier to be pissed off than it is to be hurt or scared. So we sit in that woe is me pity party, our self-imposed pity parties. But Brené also adds that anger is a catalyst. Holding on to it will make us exhausted and sick. Or sometimes anger can mask a far more difficult emotion like grief, regret, or shame. And we need to use it to dig into what we're really feeling. So this is the invitation to recognize that anger is an emotion and that it is creating an opportunity for us to go within and to tap into what it is that we are really feeling. Courage is forged in pain, but not in all pain. Pain that is denied or ignored becomes fear or hate. Anger that is never transformed becomes resentment and bitterness. And when I read this last statement of hers, anger that is never transformed becomes resentment and bitterness, I had to go into my own personal timeout and just to be the observer of my life and see where it is that I have allowed anger to become resentment and bitterness. And so we all have our work to do. And this is why we're all encouraged to have a practitioner that we work with. Even ministers have practitioners that they work with. From a science of mind point of view, Holmes said, when anger can be turned into love, and the very power that has been destroying can be made to build up, he is pointing to the transformative potential of consciously choosing emotional energy. Holmes is emphasizing here that all mental energy, whether positive or negative, can be transformed through conscious direction, turning anger into love. Love is not the absence of anger, it is its highest transformation. So I hope you're beginning to see how love and anger and transformation and our emotions all work together. You know, it's this whole concept of body, mind, and spirit. We sometimes think of those as separate aspects of who we are, but actually it's the totality of who we are. Through spiritual awareness, destructive impulses can become instruments of growth and healing, both individually and collectively. Anger is an inner alarm system, and in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, we must build dikes of courage to hold back the flood of fear. These are two metaphors or two statements that appear to pull us in opposite directions. The alarm wants us to trust it and to act on what it reveals. The dike wants us to see through it to what it is suppressing. One says this is transformation, and the other says this is defense against information. These two metaphors do not describe the same function of anger. They're describing two different roles anger can play, sometimes competing ones. Where they meet together is the idea of a boundary. And I've talked about boundaries before. Both metaphors make anger fundamentally about a limit being tested, a value being dismissed, or a fear that has been triggered. These are the examples of things that violate our boundaries or push up against our boundaries. When a limit is being tested, a value is being dismissed, or a fear has been triggered. And so rather than suppressing the anger, we can honor it with curiosity. Anger is a sacred indicator, not a flaw in our spiritual practice. It is the soul's alarm bell alerting us to imbalance, violation, or injustice. And when anger reveals that a boundary has been crossed, it doesn't make the anger wrong, it makes it relevant. And so here's another aspect of anger. When those boundaries have been crossed, it doesn't make the anger wrong, it makes it relevant. It invites us to listen deeply to what our emotions are trying to communicate. Again, back to the body, mind, spirit connection. Anger asks, what truth is trying to emerge? What needs are crying out to be seen? And what lies beneath the anger? When we allow anger to communicate constructively, we gain clarity and the power to choose our next steps intentionally. And so this creates an opportunity for us to redirect our fury into visionary action. Ernest Holmes wrote in This Thing Called You on page 152, I know that my word transmutes every energy into constructive action, producing health, harmony, happiness, and success. And when we act from anger with intention, we shift our reaction to purpose. So we're moving from that negative into the positive. We're shifting from reaction to purpose. Every great social justice movement began with a moment of moral outrage. Visionary anger doesn't lash out, it clears the way. And this is what we're invited to begin to practice in our lives, this idea of visionary anger. It doesn't lash out, it merely clears the way by saying, this must change. And then it imagines what is possible. And when we transform our activism, not by making it passive, but by making it sacred, we become agents of change. And to become an agent of change can be done very quietly within our own individual lives. When we decide that this is enough, this is not happening to me, or it's not happening to anyone that I love or care about anymore. This is when we begin to say, I am shifting from reaction to purpose, and I am becoming a change agent. And change agents express in our lives in other ways. So it's about finding what it is that we are called to be and to do. Recognize that we're called to be first. We're to be that place where God shows up. We're to be that place where fear is no longer a part of my life. It's to be that place where I am aware of my emotions and I am doing my best to stay within my boundaries as well as respect the boundaries of others. This is where we become change agents. Science of Mind reminds us that we co-create with divine intelligence, and even our fury can serve vision when we stay spiritually grounded. The energy of anger is potent and catalytic. It can destroy and it can also build. It all depends on how it is that we choose to respond or react. We can destroy or we can build. We build through prayer, meditation, our spiritual mind treatment work, community support as we gather in community on Sunday morning, or we gather in community for other events or in activities. In our social or political activity, we root our response in love and clarity. And this is the key. Through the use of our Science of Mind principles and practices, and the awareness that we co-create with divine intelligence, we recognize that we are the root, and our responses are based and rooted in love and clarity. And when we go forth to a place of love and clarity, then everything else falls into alignment with what we have established. If you don't believe it, try it. Just try it. Just try it. Anger shows us what we will no longer tolerate. Vision shows us what we choose to create. And together, these two make change inevitable. Anger allows us to maintain composure, or being in touch with our anger. Being aware of our boundaries allows us to maintain composure in challenging situations. Viktor Frankl, in Man's Search for Meaning on page 12, and this is from the ebook edition, wrote this: when we are no longer able to change a situation, we're challenged to change ourselves. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we're challenged to change ourselves. In our Centers for Spiritual Living, we have an annual theme, and the theme for 2026 is Open at the Top. And this challenges us to stay receptive, even when anger surges. In the heat of a triggering moment, Our reactive minds want to take over. Science of Mind offers us the tools to help us expand rather than constrict. With spiritual practices like meditation, prayer, and treatment, we pause and create space between the stimulus and the response. And this pause that we create is a sacred pause. It allows us to respond from a grounded place, remembering we can be grounded even when we are angry, scared, or hurt. It doesn't mean suppressing anger. It means honoring it without intentionally using it to harm. And so one of our mainstays in Science of Mind, if you will, is to do no harm, to create the good and do no harm. When we stay open in hard moments, we become channels for transformation. We create space for new possibilities in our minds, our relationships, and in our world. And I believe this is what the prayer of St. Francis is calling us to do, where it says, "Make me a channel of your peace." It's an invitation to create spaces for new possibilities in our minds, in our relationships, and in our world. Anger can open the door, allowing love to walk through. We learn to feel the heat without closing our hearts. This is true spiritual maturity. And this is what we are aiming for on this journey called life, is spiritual maturity. And each new day, whether it's sunny like it is now, whether it was foggy like it was when I got up, or wherever you're viewing from, whatever the day looks like, it's an opportunity for spiritual maturity and growth. And so the summary points that I would leave with you this morning is that in the Science of Mind, we affirm all emotions, anger included, are sacred invitations to a deeper awareness, choice, and growth. Anger is not something to be feared, repressed, or denied. It is a powerful signal from within, pointing to where healing, boundaries, and justice are needed. When we bring awareness to our anger, we reclaim our ability to choose. We no longer act from pain. We respond with clarity and intention. As spiritual beings, we are called to acknowledge difficult emotions and to engage with them as teachers. When anger is acknowledged and transformed through spiritual practice, it becomes a liberating and creative force. We remember that divine intelligence flows through all aspects of our being, including our emotions. So let us stay open at the top, willing to feel, willing to listen, and willing to grow, and use our sacred anger as fuel for love, truth, and meaningful change. And so this brings us to what is mine to do this week? Practice a sacred pause when you're feeling angry. Before responding, breathe deeply and notice what your anger is pointing to. Ask yourself, what is mine to be and do here? How do I set a boundary? Can I take compassionate action? Use this week to become a conscious steward of your emotional energy. You are not your anger. You are its alchemist. And I close this morning with this quote from Ernest Holmes. We are born to be happy, to be abundantly supplied with every good thing, to have fun living, to consciously unite with the divine power that is around us and within us, and to grow and to expand forever. Let us turn within. As we affirm and know together that there is only one life, that life is God's life. That life is whole, it is perfect, and it is complete. And each one of us is an individualized representation of this perfect life. Each one whole, perfect, just as we are right here, right now, in this very moment. And the perfection lies not in something that is created externally. The perfection is the divine idea that created us in its image and its likeness. And this divine idea is living itself through us. And this is where the individualization comes in. We each are an expression of this divine intelligence. And so just breathe into that for a moment, recognizing that I am the breath of God. I am the life of God. I am the energy of God. I am the love of God. I am all that God is. And yet, God is so much more. And so I know and declare and affirm right here and right now that I am and we are living in this divine experience of love, this divine opportunity to recognize that anger has touched on a boundary. It has touched on a nerve, if you will. And I am a choice. And one of the choices that I use is to go to my spiritual practices to remind myself that I am one with God. God is well pleased with me. And so I can shift the way I approach this situation. I can transform my anger. I can transform my fear into love. The love that knows no bounds. The love that has no conditions. The love that only says, yes, you are a part of me and I am a part of you. And we're traveling this sacred journey together. And I speak a word of blessing this morning where communities and people are gathering together in the name and nature of love, recognizing that along this journey, there may be different points where our intersections with others on this journey that is called life come together. May those moments of intersection, those places where we bump into each other, be bumps of love, bumps of joy, bumps of exhilaration, bumps of recognizing that we are on this sacred journey of life and we are here to have fun. We're here to enjoy the gifts of the Spirit and to live these gifts in our daily walk. I speak my word this morning for those who are experiencing transitions in their lives. Perhaps a loved one has stepped off of the mortal plane and has closed a chapter in this particular book of life and has opened a new chapter in the invisible to us. And yet, each time we have a memory of that loved one, they live on in our hearts and in our lives. So we recall those precious memories, knowing that in those midnight hours, these sacred memories reveal the secrets of our soul. And so we joyfully move forward, knowing that all is well and that all is in divine order. For other transitions that individuals are moving through, my prayer this morning is that there's a recognition of divine guidance. Divine intelligence is making the way plain. And as we open our eyes, our spiritual eye of discernment, we recognize that this is the path that we are to follow. And so for this and so much more, and for the prayers that remain within our own individual heart space, I know that the answer is yes and amen. Therefore, in gratitude, in deep, deep gratitude, knowing that my word has set a new cause in motion and that it cannot and will not return void, I release this word into the activity and the alchemy of love and law. It is done. I declare it is so. And I invite you to join me as we say together, and so it is, and so it is. We have a prayer chest here in the center, and I encourage you, if you have a prayer request, to please fill out a prayer form and leave it in our prayer chest. For those of you who are viewing, you may submit a prayer request through our website, montereycsl.org. And I would encourage you to meet with a practitioner or a minister or a counselor, someone that you trust, to share what is on your heart. Don't carry that problem with you. Allow someone else to support you in this divine path. And so it is time now for our affirmation, our weekly affirmation. And I believe the words will be on our screen. Let us say this together twice. I am a channel through which God creates. I know the nature of God is love, wholeness, harmony, and my life reflects that. I am a channel through which God creates. I know the nature of God is love, wholeness, harmony, and my life reflects that. And now it is time to share in the law of circulation, often known as offering, sharing our gifts, sharing our abundance. And I just want to continually say thank you for the way this community continues to show up and share your prosperity and your financial abundance that allows us to continue to open our door, bring programs, bring our Sunday service through the means of technology so that our outreach is spreading throughout the globe. And periodically, I do watch our Facebook ratings, and it shows where we receive views from. And we do receive views globally from our Facebook page. So we invite you to go on to the page if you are a Facebook subscriber. And if not, if you subscribe to YouTube, please like our page, make a comment, and share it so that we continue to expand this love and the blessings of our Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. And so I invite us now to say our statement of abundance together as we prepare for our gifts. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And so it is. And on our monitor, we have various ways that you may support the center through mail, through text, and through our online donations. And we have a greeter that will pass the basket here within the community. And I invite you, as the basket passes by, to just infuse it with love. And I recognize that we have on-time online givers, we have text givers, and we have those who mail in their donations. And so, really it's none of our business what our neighbor is doing in terms of the collection plate, but we do look. And so just for those of you who may be aware that my neighbor didn't put anything in, there are other ways to contribute and support. So we appreciate all of the divine flow that operates through our center. So thank you for that. Before we conclude our on-air celebration, Irene, do you have the slide? I want to invite Denise Kaku to join me on stage, please. Denise has earned her practitioner emeritus status Yes, yes. And I have a statement from our Centers for Spiritual Living. And I believe you have this. If not, it's in your email. But it says, Dear Denise, congratulations. Welcome to the special group of emeritus practitioners with Centers for Spiritual Living. We honor and celebrate all your years of service, your generosity, and of course, your wisdom. Thank you for answering the call to this sacred and profound work, and for the expansion of consciousness everywhere by serving our community, Centers for Spiritual Living, and the world so devotedly. So thank you again, Denise. It is my honor and my pleasure to work with you as a peer practitioner. And I'm just so appreciative of all that you do for our community. So. And so to our viewing audience on Facebook and our YouTube channel, we invite you to join us next week as we continue our August series, The Fear and the Furious, with the topic Fierce Clarity, where fear becomes a compass. What if fear isn't a warning, but a doorway to clarity? So just know that we love you, we appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you in person in our center if Monterey is one of your destinations. Good morning and God bless.